All right. Hello, everyone. I think we are live now. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you are listening today. Welcome to our today's webinar with Adam from Relai. Hey, Adam, how are you?
Hey, Matthias, I'm doing pretty well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for joining. So before we start, some couple of information. So we are recording this. You should get a recording after this webinar. If you have not the chance to listen in today, please use the chat box. Sorry, the chat box. If you have any questions, we are happy to answer them at the end of this. So today we came together to talk about, I would say kind of a delicate topic that probably has raised some eyebrows, namely to ask a very, very specific question. How can you use biometrics in a very privacy-conscious industry to authenticate a user? And I'm really, really happy that today I'm joined by Adam to address these concerns and talk about the integration of keyless. My name is Matthias. I'm sales director at Keyless. And Adam, please, some couple of words about you and Relai.
Sure, with pleasure. And thanks everyone for joining. I'm Adam, co-founder and CTO at Relai, where we built Europe's easiest Bitcoin investing app. Made in Switzerland, we launched in July 2020. So we are live for slightly more than 5 years now, officially. And officially a bit more. Obviously, we started early on with Julia and did a hackathon here and there. So the typical way to go ahead with a startup. Today we are 58 people strong and available in all of Europe. And we recently also acquired the MiCA license, which is a license for crypto asset service providers. We got it from France, and we are the first Bitcoin-only self-custodial platform to have acquired that license. So we're super happy and super excited about it. And we closed our Series A end of last year. So now we are ready for marketing and growth. So Europe, here we come.
Perfect. That's amazing. And as the first Bitcoin-only self-custodian wallet to grant a license, big congrats to you guys. So
Thank you.
Just for today's webinar, we thought let's do a little bit something different, not go through the typical slides that you might see. Back in May, my colleague Alex visited you, Adam, in Zurich. We did an interview. We recorded a video case study about keyless and the implementation. And we thought we're going to show you 4 sequences or 4 small snippets of this video and go into a little bit more depth and talk about the concept behind it. So that's what we're going to do. Show you 4 videos with Adam talking, and then we're going to discuss each of the different topics. Now, before we start, and for those who are interested, for sure, we would like to show you how Relai has, as of today, implemented keyless in the application. So very short video showing you what the user experience is looking like when you access the Relai app. Now, as keyless, we do biometric authentication, right? So we assure someone's identity when you access an application. And in this very, very short video, maybe it was too fast for some people, but what you have seen is you can use, instead of a PIN, you can access the wallet using someone's face. And that's what exactly happened. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how you can make use of a real liveness check to access a wallet. Now, let's start with the first section, and I'm going to let Adam talk.
We recently applied for a French license, and we had to follow some strict regulations about multi-factor authentications. So we had two options for our users. The first one was to remember an email, a password, and the 12 words. And the second option was to use keyless and just look at the camera.
Right. Now, Adam, you briefly mentioned this, that you granted the license, right, for Mika. And tell us about the regulation or the regulative impact, and what exactly what you meant by that, using keyless for strong authentication.
Sure, with pleasure. So as you said, and as I mentioned in the video, it all started with first a requirement. So requirement was the trigger. Just to give you an idea of how the Relai app used to work before, in the Relai app, there is also a Bitcoin wallet that is integrated in the app. A Bitcoin wallet is called self-custodial. It means that the users only own the private key. So really, as a company, we have no access to the user's funds. It's a very good thing on its own, but it also requires a lot of education on our end, because it's a self-custodial wallet. It's not like a bank where you trust the bank and you put the money and the bank is responsible, quote unquote, of your money. Here you need to make sure that you keep track of your funds and you can control it at any time. So how a crypto wallet, also a Bitcoin wallet, work is that they have 12 words, mnemonic in English. So these are 12 English words that you need to remember that gives you access to the wallet. Now you also have 24 words. So there is a clear process for that, a standard. So all our users, once they installed the Relai app, they were presented with 12 words and they had to write them down. So this is the backup for their wallet. But the problem, this is not very conventional. We are used to log in with email and password, or we are used to having 2FAs with SMS and emails. And here, out of nowhere, they are presented with 12 words and in English. So let alone the fact that it's a new format, it's also a different language for most of our users. Not everybody in Europe is English speaking, right? So this became problematic. It started with a good intention to give full control to our users, but it became problematic when you want to log in, backup, restore your account. So when we applied for the French license, one of the requirements was to have strong MFA, multi-factor authentication.
And so multi-factor, if interrupt, the multi-factor means that you need two distinct factors to access some application, or in your case, your wallet, right?
Right, that's correct. At least two to access the account. And at the time, we only had we only had one, which was the private keys. We were not requesting any email or anything else from the users. Them having the 12 words means they own the private key, so they can control their wallet. And this was enough to communicate with the backend. We used the signature, the digital signatures with private key, public key, so we could communicate and make sure that which user is requesting what kind of information. Obviously, it has some limitations, but it was working okay so far. When we were faced to implement MFA, we had two options. The very obvious one is reaching out to our users and asking them, look, we know you have your 12 words. Now we also need from you an email and the password, so you can log in to your account.
And one other option, and we're gonna see this in the next video, is using another authentication mechanism. And maybe let's hear what you said.
So initially, when we started, we also considered integrating Face ID, for example, from Apple. The reason we didn't go for it is that in terms of multi-factor authentication, it's not actually working. Keyless is, because keyless depends on the biometrics and the device, which makes it multi-factor, which is not the case with Face ID. So compliance-wise, even if we wanted to, we couldn't go ahead with Face ID because it's not traceable, it's not reproducible, whereas keyless offers all this in one place. Okay.
I just hope you have a little bit more than 65 franc on your Bitcoin wallet, but that was just for demo, so all good. Now, look, I think very importantly what you said, right? So our technology is often compared to Face ID, and you mentioned it, right? Everyone is familiar with Face ID or any other proprietary local device biometric. Could be any other OEM that's using a proprietary system. So let's go into that a little bit more. The difference, how do you see that Face ID or any other biometric, local biometric?
Yeah, sure. So here we are faced with this requirement. We need to implement MFA, which is a very good thing. So we take it gladly. It's a good thing for our users, more security, more privacy. So we agree we will implement MFA, and we want to go with the easiest and the best solution for our users. We care a lot about user experience at Relai. From the beginning, our goal, our vision, or our mission has always been to make Bitcoin access as easy as possible. So one of the requirements was to make sure that we have a solution that is reproducible and trustable, had some clear logs, and we were offered multiple solutions in front of us, right? So keyless was one of them, Face ID was one of them, email password was one of them. Why did we end up with keyless, and what are the problems with the others? So first of all, we wanted to go with password, email. We also needed to make sure that the users don't get to the wrong impression that, oh, I have password and email, I don't need the 12 words anymore. They needed all three of this information. Face ID, why it doesn't work? Well, first of all, it doesn't fit our ultimate vision when it comes to user experience to have a proprietary and platform-specific solution. Face ID only works on iOS devices. So if we would integrate, and we offer our solution on both iOS and Android, if we integrate Face ID, we cannot integrate Face ID and the same user experience to all of our users, because on Android there is by definition no Face ID. So we would have to integrate whatever Android offers in terms of biometrics. So it means touch sensors or any other kind of face recognition. So it gets very complicated very quickly. And for us, it means a very different user experience on different platforms, which we wanted to have.
Consistency, right? So it's not the same UX or the same, the UI that you need. So if I can buy an iPhone today and another device tomorrow, but you don't want to break the journey, right?
Right. Yes, exactly. Plus, it also didn't meet the legal requirements because we didn't have proper logs. We didn't have a clear way to prove reproducibility. And even if we wanted to, we need this on all the solutions that we would have implemented. So let's say we have it with Face ID, we would need to have this same process for all the other authentication solutions that we would have implemented.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And just to add on this, because we talk with a lot of customers about, our service, our solution versus proprietary biometric authentication technologies, Face ID or any other ones, they don't tell you really who you are, right? So they tell you someone has access to your device or someone knows an on-device PIN. Just a side note, we recently, and I see my LinkedIn feed coming every day with a similar story, especially in markets or cities like London, where people snitch your phone, right? And then you are having a call or you have your phone open, you're unlocked. They get access to all of your accounts, all of your applications, because if it's open, not everyone knows and understands and knows exactly how to protect your phone or the access to your phone. And I think the similar concept is here, is not be dependent on the local PIN or the local biometrics rather than the real face, right?
Exactly. Yes, that's a very good point as well. From the beginning, we always had an internal and in-app PIN as well for the users. We don't rely on just the fact that, oh, the device is unlocked. So please, here it is. We're talking about a fintech app, obviously, so it requires an extra layer of security.
Yeah, perfect. Now, so we know that there has been a compliance, but also from a pressure, let's say, from a regulation point of view. There, as you said, there are challenges with existing methods. Now let's talk about use cases. And there is another quick section.
There are several step-up actions implemented in the Relai app. Buying high amount of Bitcoin, for example, changing personal information like your address, or deleting your account require a step-up authentication. Let's take the example of deleting an account where we want to make sure that the real user is requesting an account deletion. The process is very simple. We first request the action from the user, and before proceeding, we ask them to authenticate with their biometrics using keyless.
Now, we saw in the video the login or the access to the wallet, but you addressed many other use cases. Please let us explain why you have chosen keyless also for other actions in the Relai app, or are about to use them in the future.
Right. The very first and most obvious one was enrollment and authentication. So just that the users, once we have a process of called KYC, Know Your Customer, which is just pretty much minimum amount of personal information you need to provide to onboard to the platform. During that phase, users enroll to keyless. And once this is done, then currently they can use it when the users open the app, the keyless authentication is shown, and they can quickly get into the app as we've just saw previously in the demo. There are additional flows in the app where we use keyless. One of them is called step-up authentication. So users are already authenticated. They are in the app. They are using the app. They got what we use a token. So they got a token with a given expiration. So let's say we're still in that phase. They're still in the app, or they access the app and they're using it. At the same time, users want to, instead of just creating a, let's call it a standard buy order for 50 or 100 euros, they want either to update their address, or they want to create a buy order that has an amount that is above 5,000 or 10,000, whatever the definition of a high amount order is. For such cases, we request a new authentication on top of the existing one before proceeding from the user.
Okay.
It is very important to make sure that the right person is requesting this change or this specific action before proceeding. This is called step-up authentication. Even if they're already in the app, they just opened the app, they authenticated before proceeding with this step that we need some extra care about, particularly when changing any personal information. We will quickly re-ask the user to authenticate before proceeding.
I think that's a very good way of and the concept, or in our industry, or we also talk a lot about assurance, right? Or rely on continuous trust, right? So you make sure that even if you have properly gone through a KYC process, like an identity verification process, and you know it's Matthias, right? But it could be whatever reason that someone else is now changing your address, right? So you want to step up, as you said, this use case with assuring it's really the same person, right? There was another one. So you have address changing, paying the amount or high amounts, and now let's say the last section of this, or which is my favorite, to be honest, is the future and the vision of using biometrics. So let's hear out. You mentioned it quickly before, but I think it's very important to get into that. Oh, sorry. There you go.
I believe biometrics will make 12 words mnemonic obsolete, because it is a better and more secure way of having a backup of your wallet.
Okay. 10 seconds, but very important ones. So I'm a Bitcoin user myself. I've tried this out a couple of years ago. So for me, someone who knows this, or people within industry, probably get the idea, right, very quickly. But could you, since we have a lot of listeners from different industries or a broad audience, can you explain us what this really means, and what are these 12 or 24 words again? I think that's very important.
Right. This is already one step to the direction to make it easier. Already the 12 words. Before the 12 words mnemonic, so in the Bitcoin world, you have what is called BIPs, BIPs, Bitcoin Improvement Protocols. So these are protocols that everyone can propose to changes that you want to bring to the Bitcoin network, and they will be discussed and eventually will be implemented. So the 12 words mnemonic were not in the Bitcoin process early on. They've been implemented later, actually. So before, it was pretty standard private public key. So you had to have your whole private key, which is even worse than 12 words in a way that it's just letters and numbers and here and there that you need to write down without any mistakes so that you can access your Bitcoin. So 12 words mnemonics already in the name, it says mnemonic just to make sure that you can memorize it and keep it in your mind even better with plain English words. That's already a step forward, but this is also not enough. As I told you earlier, there are a lot of challenges when it comes to the 12 words mnemonic. First of all, it's very new for a lot of users. It's a very new system. Why do I need words? How words can protect my wallet? Like, how can you say that these words are random enough that someone else cannot come up by just saying 12 words randomly, they will end up in my Bitcoin wallet? Obviously, the technology behind is that from these 12 words, it creates the main private key of your wallet, and then it just generates thousands and millions of addresses from it. So from these 12 words, it goes back to the private key that then generates all your addresses. But it's just one layer above, so it becomes much easier to remember. So
so you only need to remember 12 words. I mean, I can hardly remember a 4-digit PIN, right? But that is also the challenge, right? So you have to know these 12 or 24 words, or you have to write them down, right, somewhere.
Exactly.
And
and in English. They're only available in 4 or 5 languages. The BIP has also been implemented in 3-4 extra languages, but that's it. If you are a non-English speaking and non-native English speaking, even writing down these words end up with mistakes. Like, you know how to write a chair because you've been speaking English for years, but chair on its own, even if you know what it means, you know how to write it, is not the same for someone that is not an English speaking person.
Yeah, makes sense.
So these two together, the fact that it's a new system for them and the fact that it's eventually also a new language, can be quite problematic.
And if you don't know these words, no one can access, not even you, right? No one can access.
Literally.
It's gone, right? It's lost.
It's lost. It's how they finally call it. It's a donation to the Bitcoin world because nobody has access to it. This Bitcoin is untouchable forever. So that's what you want to avoid. Obviously, it's something that you plan for the future. In the app, what we provide is a savings solution. We believe in the long-term strategy of Bitcoin. So you don't want to just buy once and then forget and then you can move on. So something you need to keep for the long term. So even with the fact that the point that we mentioned earlier, keyless was already the obvious solution to go with. For UX reasons, for reproducibility reasons, for the logs, for the fact that it was meeting all the criteria, it was the obvious way to go. And then on top, it was just the cherry on top. Using keyless, we can also attach some information to your biometrics. So I believe a lot in biometrics. I know it's a sensitive topic because it has to be taken care of. Like you need to deal very carefully with biometrics. This I completely agree. But it's also the future. Look at how Apple is using Touch ID, Face ID everywhere. Not only on the mobile devices, not only on the iPhones or the iPads. Every laptops has now the Touch ID. Eventually, Face ID will come to the Mac world as well. So there is a way to use this very unique information in a very secure way, and this is the future. So with keyless, we haven't implemented it yet, but it's coming in the next month or two. It's really a top priority for us. To your biometrics information, you can attach any other information that you want to, any other data that you want to. And here, what we will be working on is making sure that instead of using platform-specific clouds like iCloud or Google Drive or any other to back up your 12 words, so next time you can restore it much easily, here we will be able to use keyless, where users can attach their 12 words mnemonic to their biometrics, still in an encrypted way, still in a secure way. And next time, restoring their wallet will be as simple as just looking at the camera. Looking at the camera will restore everything they need from the Relay account. It's still not on Relay's end, so it's not that the wallet is still self-custodial. We don't have access to the user's funds, but this private information is stored, is attached to their biometrics, which makes sense. It is your wallet. You own that wallet as much as you own your biometrics, so they are together. And users will be able to restore the Relay account by just looking at the camera. No email, no password, no 12 words required. And
very importantly, what you said, since you don't have access to those keys, we as keyless, we don't have access to the biometrics too, right? So that makes a positive, very good match, right? Because as I said at the beginning, the technology we're using is privacy preserving. So we don't know if it's Adam or Matthias. We just know there is a face associated to a certain user ID, in your case, a private key, or a key of a Relay ID, let's call it. And that's all, right? And we just match that in a privacy preserving manner. So it's important also for the users to understand that when you authenticate with a face, no private information or biometric data is shared or sent to us during this process. And that's, I think, makes it very, very unique and very special that you took the decision to use keyless also for this use case, because it's basically accessing your wallet with that, or re-accessing your wallet. All right.
Exactly.
Now we have just a couple of minutes left. I know there are questions. Sorry, I think we overrun a bit, but it's such an interesting and special topic. So yeah, we talked about the challenges you had, right? The regulatory driver, the different solutions of the market, why you chose keyless, and especially what's planned in the future. I think one question which just came in, and I briefly touched base on top of it, is we as keyless, and it's very important, don't store any biometric data in a nutshell, and we can talk about technical specifics in detail, but basically we use a cryptographic protocol in combination with zero-knowledge proofs that makes it impossible for us or anyone else to access your biometric information, because no biometric data is being sent or stored. We have technical white papers on our website if someone is interested, or can talk about that afterwards. Right. Maybe there is another one. There's also maybe more for keyless. Does it work offline? No, we need some sort of data connection, right? So your phone has to have access to some Wi-Fi or data, whatever connection. So even if the liveness and everything happens locally on the device, we still need to match those cryptographic keys, right? Maybe so last question to you, Adam. So what's the plan? What's on your roadmap?
So first of all, we really want to proceed with the cloud backup when it comes to the 12 words mnemonic backup and restore, because it can be very problematic. We are also all about education, so we make sure that users still also have access to the 12 words whenever they need it. They are encrypted locally on the device as well. And on top of that, we are also integrating keyless in our web platform. So we will be, we used another solution called Keycloak. And again, we want to go back to the same user experience for all of our users, we recently also launched a web app for Relai Private, which is part of our business who takes care of high net worth individuals and businesses. So they can create orders directly via the web platform. Now we are replacing KeyCloak there with keyless. So when they will come to the web app, they will have a unique QR code they can scan with the Relai app. And then in the Relai app, they also do again their authentication with keyless, and boom, the web app refreshes so they can have access to their dashboard.
Okay, perfect. Maybe just, I think we have 1 minute left or two, so just to quickly come back to my previous or the previous question. There was a question if we use zero knowledge proofs. So yes, in combination with a cryptographic protocol that is called secure multi-party computation, which we use to transform a face into a one-way encryption key. And in combination with zero knowledge proofs, we assure the genuine identity of the user or the face without revealing the real information of that user. Meaning we as keyless, as I said, we never store any personal or identifiable information on our end. Cool. All right, Adam, I think, yeah, we are perfect. 31 minutes. We have a little bit more time, but I think we can wrap it up. Yeah, thank you for your time, Adam, and yeah, was a real pleasure to talk to you. Download the Relai app if you haven't done,
Yes.
and yeah, keep on the good work. And yeah, thanks for joining.
Thanks. The pleasure was mine. Thank you, Matthias.
All right. Everyone will get their email after this and the recording of this webinar. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.